Small business is sold to us as the backbone of every healthy economy. Entrepreneurs take risks, create jobs, make useful stuff, and sometimes strike it rich. That's the story everyone loves. So, what happens when your neighbor, who just started delivering for Uber Eats, starts calling himself an entrepreneur? What happens when your little sister starts making penny blossoms and calls herself a businesswoman?
This could be a business, right?
I know what you're saying, but I won't say that. But I will tell you, this is exactly the kind of business that gets registered and makes the headlines and shouts record numbers of new business registrations and applications. And let me tell you, politicians love this. It lets them say things like, the American dream is alive and well. But before you cue that inspirational montage, let's pull the curtain back. A huge chunk of these businesses are actually gig workers registering to drive, deliver, tutor, freelance, or sell something online. They're not hiring employees. They're not taking out office space. They're not developing prototypes for investors. There's hardly any innovation. It's just everyday people saying, I need more income, so I'll register as a business so I can work on Uber Eats or start a side hustle. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's a very different picture from the golden age of entrepreneurship narrative. Now, these headlines and numbers are a global phenomenon. The U.S. Census business formation statistics show a massive surge in business applications since 2020, far above pre-pandemic levels. That looks impressive until you ask who is behind the surge and why. In India, the Udyam portal and MSME push have driven record registration growth as well. Millions of micro and small firms are now on the books. People are trying to monetize anything they can. Australia, Canada, and the UK also report rising entries and the same pattern. So yes, lots of new business names. But what kind of businesses? Let's take a look at two truths that change everything. We live in the age of platforms. Uber, Zomato, DoorDash, Fiverr, Upwork, Amazon sellers, Shopify stores, and many more. They all have one thing in common. To work on them, you're encouraged, and sometimes required, to register as a business entity. So suddenly, millions of gig workers are counted as entrepreneurs. Does this mean they're CEOs building the next Apple? No. It means they're using their personal car, personal laptop, personal phone, and personal energy to work without the benefits of traditional employment. They're not employing staff. They're not scaling. They're not innovating at a mass scale. They're simply doing work under the label of business owner. It's like calling yourself a chef because you reheated leftovers. Truth 2, where the boom is strongest is also where incomes are weakest. Research shows much of the new formation happens in lower-income counties and suburbs, not the prestige tech hubs. People aren't launching scalable startups with venture capital lined up. They're registering so they can invoice, take app gigs, and try to keep the lights on for their family. And right now, globally, a lot of people feel insecure. Inflation is squeezing wages, housing costs are impossible, corporate jobs are harder to get, layoffs hit even safe tech jobs, AI automation is reshaping industries, and the cost of living is rising faster than income. So what do people do? They turn to self-employment. They turn to side gigs. They register businesses out of desperation. Small cafes, beauty brands, digital marketing firms, and event companies hold lifestyle appeal. They represent creativity, independence, and social status. Platforms like Instagram and YouTube glamorize entrepreneurship, showcasing success but rarely the operational struggles. This creates a perception that starting a small business is easy. While low entry costs encourage participation, they also increase competition to unsustainable levels. When markets get saturated faster than demand can grow, businesses struggle to differentiate, leading to quick failures. How many times have you seen the board change at your nearby cafe? Every few months, a new board, same menu, same ambiance, razor-thin margins, same broken strategy. Businesses like these close because they operate without formal training, planning, or financial logic. Financial literacy, pricing strategy, cash flow management, and inventory planning are often overlooked. When real-world challenges like high operational costs, slow customer acquisition, and inconsistent revenue hit, motivation drops, and the gap between expectation and reality accelerates failure. And that is also why you should subscribe to this channel to understand how technology and money really works. So the narrative flips. More business registrations does not equal to more healthy startups. Often it means more people are out of secure jobs and using self-employment as a coping strategy. Governments love to point at higher business registration counts as proof that their programs work. But counting registrations without checking whether those businesses create jobs, pay living wages, or even survive a year is like counting app downloads and calling your app a success. When governments rely on those numbers to make budgets, the result is misdirected policy. Let's talk about the biggest winners in this entire global shift: the middlemen, the platforms, the apps. Think about it. They take a cut from every gig. They don't pay benefits. They don't deal with employment laws. They don't provide guarantees. They don't offer stability, but they get the PR boost. Look, we've empowered millions of entrepreneurs. It's genius, honestly. It's like convincing people they're independent artisans for building IKEA furniture. Platforms get scalable revenue. Workers get unpredictable income and no protection. And governments? They get to point at charts and pretend the economy is booming. Everybody wins, except the people doing the actual work. First, we need to make healthcare and retirement benefits portable. People should be able to keep their basic safety nets even if they switch jobs or choose to go freelance. When that happens, they can focus on getting results and take real risks, not out of desperation, but out of ambition. Next, the government should give targeted support and should not do mass signups. Instead of pushing everyone to start a business, the focus should be on giving micro grants, proper training, and early-stage funding to businesses that actually have the potential to scale further, be profitable, and hire people. We also need to track the numbers that actually matter, and not just count registrations. Track how many companies survive past 1 to 2 years, how many jobs they create, and whether wages are improving for the people working. And finally, the government should regulate work platforms responsibly. If platforms rely on freelancers or gig workers, they should contribute to basic worker benefits or to a portable safety net system. Now, none of these are flashy changes. They're not glamorous, they're boring policy fixes. But they're exactly the kind of fixes that create a world where starting a business is a real choice, not something people do because they ran out of options. We're not necessarily living in a golden age of entrepreneurial opportunity. We might be living in a golden age of middlemen and patchwork survival. Real entrepreneurship needs stability and capital to scale. What we have now is millions of people reinventing the word business just to keep food on the table. Watch this next video on why Gen Z are leaving college and working blue-collar jobs. And of course, subscribe and keep learning how money actually works, not how the headlines pretend it works.